This is Console Crapshoot, where we spin a wheel to play a random video game on original hardware. Let's see, hopefully Carl doesn't pick the Nintendo 64 again. We just had that 2 weeks in a row. Would be nice to get something different. We got the Xbox 360, which we did have recently, a few episodes ago. We had a straight-up Kinect game. Let's see what we get this time. 230 games left on this wheel. Oh yes, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix. I said this before, I still don't have a full 360 collection, so the wheel is mostly made up of games I like, the games that I bought. This is a great example of that because this is like one of my favorite games of all time. And I know that's gonna sound weird, but let me give some context here. This is one of my favorite games of all time to play with a certain group of friends. This is pure nostalgia for me. So originally came out in 1996 for the arcade, and then it was ported for home versions on the Saturn and the PS1, the PlayStation 1 here in North America. My cousin Philippe had the PlayStation 1 version, and I would go over there and basically, how do I say this? This was our smoking game. This was the game when we partook and we were zoning out and giggling, and we just would take turns going against each other in Super Puzzle Fighter 2. And when I say giggling, like a lot of giggling, a lot of laughing fits. Sometimes, what can I say, like a group of friends, you just latch on to something, and this was our go-to game. This was what we were always wanting to play. Especially when we were in that state. So, needless to say, when the 360 version came out, I was really happy. Me and those friends continued to play this game for years later. When this version came out, it allowed online multiplayer and voice chat. So even when we lived far away from each other, we still regularly, once in a while, at least a couple times a year, try to play this game together. So of course, I called them and told them, Super Puzzle Fighter just came up on the wheel. We have to play it. So we did that. They joined me, and we sat and went crazy on Super Puzzle Fighter for a night, and the giggling and the laughing fits were, they didn't go anywhere. They were still there. There's something so goofy about this game that just makes us all laugh. It's basically like a Tetris, or more like a Columns, if you've ever played Columns, but it's Capcom characters from Street Fighter mostly, and like a couple of Darkstalkers characters and stuff like that. And they're like little kid versions, character designs of those characters. The official term, I believe it's called Super Deformed. They call that Super Deformed when they make, it's popular in Japanese culture. They make little child versions of them. It's also, I've heard it called Chibi. I'd rather be called Chibi than Super Deformed. That's just me, but you're basically trying to destroy large blocks of gems, and then when you do that, you drop them on your opponent. You're trying to bury your opponent in blocks. And the whole time the characters are fighting each other, doing like Hadoukens at each other. Some of the characters, like secret characters that you can unlock or use, is like a weird little piece of paper that throws shoes and shit at you. And they're all screaming things in Japanese. And as you can imagine, a bunch of stoned teenagers playing this game. We didn't know what they were yelling in Japanese, but we have it all memorized, and we just kind of like parrot it and yell things. We yell all these things at each other pretty much in regular life when we meet up. And you kind of hear what you want to hear.
Why does she keep screaming body fat?
I mean, that's probably not what she's saying, but that's what we're hearing. We love it. There's one character that when you get a super move, it's this small girl. The game just explodes, and she starts shooting like baby heads at you, and it just says "Love for you."
Love for you!
That's insane. You could see why this is a bunch of giggling stone teenagers' go-to game. The gameplay is super addictive. It's also super simple. Like, pretty sure anyone, it might look confusing if you're just sitting there watching this game. But if you sit down and play like 2 or 3 rounds, all of a sudden the rhythm will just hit you. You'll get it. It clicks. And it's simple and silly and funny enough to like get you hooked. If you're the right kind of person for it, I guess. To me and my friends, like this is our bread and butter here. I'd much rather, get a bunch of friends together and play this online than like the newest Call of Duty.
Jamiroquai!
So now, I guess let's get to the crazy business of rating Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix. First of all, I couldn't be happier that this game came up on the wheel, as you might be able to tell. I'm gonna have to get controversial here. Where's the Mortal Kombat voice guy?
Controversy.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, personally, as a game for me and my friends, this is a 5 out of 5. This is like one of my legendary games that I love playing. It means a lot to me. And then I say, well, I'm ranking it on my show overall as a game. How can I justify giving it a 5 out of 5? It's clearly, at best a 4 out of 5. It's just a great game. But I go back and forth with this. Well, I gave Mortal Kombat 2 and Rogue Squadron both 4 out of 5s, and I love those games, and those are games that were at the time of their release were my favorite games. But then I get to thinking, you know what? I don't still itch to play those games. And this list, these reviews aren't going in the Smithsonian, I don't think. They're my list. So I don't know. You know what? Fuck it. I'm giving Puzzle Fighter 2 a 5 out of 5. And I don't care what anyone says, because I enjoy playing this game equally as much as I did however many ungodly amount of years ago every time I play it. A game can be a masterpiece, doesn't have to be a complicated game, doesn't have to be a Skyrim or like a cornerstone celebrated game. It can be a game that is just the right tune, and it might not be that tune for everybody, but it is for me and my friends. So yeah, I'm gonna sleep soundly giving this a 5 out of 5. You got a problem with it, I don't know, start your own show, write a letter to your congressman. I don't know what to tell you. It is going to be okay, though, I promise. If you ever get a chance and you have a friend that you like giggling with, substances or not, try to puzzle fight them. Get into it, play a couple rounds, get the rhythm of it, and I think you won't be disappointed. And if you are, don't at me. Actually, at me. I want to hear about it. That's fine, we can disagree. But that's it for this week. That was just a goddamn pleasure for me. And that's high hopes for next week. I don't think we can have that much fun 2 weeks in a row. So we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. Hope you'll be there, and see you then.